Rome is known for many great accomplishments that have influenced mankind over the centuries. Some of these include art, sculpture, architecture, engineering, and theater. But one of the greatest achievements of the Roman Empire included all of these. This marvel of art, engineering, and architecture is known as the Roman Colosseum. The Colosseum has captured the imaginations of millions throughout its history. It has been the subject of many well-known stories and Hollywood movies, such as Ben-Hur, Spartacus, and Gladiator. It even made brief appearances in modern movies, such as Mel Brooks' History of the World, Part 1, and Jumper. But what is the Colosseum? How was it created? Why was it created? What effects did it have on the Roman society, and how does it continue to influence the world today? The Colosseum occupies a site just east of the Roman Forum. Its construction began in 70 A.D. under the orders of Emperor Vespasian, and was completed in 80 A.D. by his son, Emperor Titus. Both were emperors of the Flavian dynasty, after the reign of the infamous Emperor Nero. During his rule, Nero appropriated prime land in the city and built a fabulous palace with a lake and gardens. It was called the Domus Aurea, Latin for Golden House. After the death of Nero, the morale and the confidence of Roman citizens was at an all-time low. Vespasian had to get support back from the people and assure the popularity of the Flavian family. His idea was to demolish the palace of Nero and to construct a permanent area for housing free gladiator games and other entertainment for the amusement of the mob. An estimated 100,000 prisoners were brought back to Rome as slaves after the Jewish revolt in 70 A.D., giving Vespasian a limitless workforce. In the building of the Colosseum, the slaves undertook the manual labor, such as working in the quarries at Tivoli, where the travertine, a form of limestone, was quarried. Teams of professional Roman builders, engineers, artists, painters, and decorators undertook the skilled tasks necessary for building the Colosseum. This amazing feat of architecture was accomplished in less than 10 years. Unlike earlier Greek theaters that were built into hillsides, the Colosseum is an entirely freestanding structure. It is elliptical in plan, 4 tiers high, and has a base area of 6 acres. The outer wall is estimated to have required over 131,000 cubic yards of travertine stone, which were set without mortar held together by 300 tons of iron clamps. The perimeter originally measured 1,788 feet. The central arena is an oval, 287 feet long and 180 feet wide, surrounded by a wall 15 feet high, above which rose tiers of seating. The remainder of the present-day exterior of the Colosseum is, in fact, the interior wall. Roman architecture and buildings, such as the Colosseum, were strongly influenced by 2 of their greatest inventions, concrete and vaulted arches. Concrete was such a new invention that the Romans were still learning how to use it during the Colosseum's construction. The ceilings consisted of vaulted arches made of concrete, but the supports they rested on were made of strong, heavy limestone. The arches added strength to the building without adding excessive weight. Without concrete and vaulted arches, the Colosseum could not have been built. The Colosseum's huge crowd capacity made it essential that the venue could be filled or evacuated quickly. Its architects adopted solutions very similar to those used in modern stadiums to deal with the same problem. The amphitheater was ringed by 80 entrances at ground level, 76 of which were used by ordinary spectators. Spectators were given tickets in the form of numbered pottery shards, which directed them to the appropriate section and row. They accessed their seats via vomitoria, passageways that opened into a tier of seats from below or behind. According to the Codex Calendar of 354, the Colosseum could accommodate 87,000 people, although modern estimates put the figure at around 50,000. Special boxes were provided at the north and south ends, respectively, for the Emperor and the Vestal versions, providing the best views of the arena. Flanking them at the same level was a broad platform, or podium, for the senatorial class. The tier above the senators was occupied by the non-senatorial noble class, or knights. The next level up was reserved for ordinary Roman citizens, and was divided into 2 sections. The lower part was for wealthy citizens, while the upper part was for poor citizens. Some groups were banned altogether, notably gravediggers, actors, and former gladiators. Stone, and later marble, seating was provided for the citizens and nobles, who would have brought their own cushions with them. The top of the Colosseum wall supported a retractable awning, known as a velarium, that kept the sun and rain off spectators, similar to today's modern football stadiums. The arena itself had a wooden floor covered by sand over an elaborate underground structure called a hypogeum, literally meaning underground. It consisted of a two-level subterranean network of tunnels and cages beneath the arena where gladiators and animals were held before the contests began. 80 vertical shafts provided instant access to the arena for caged animals and scenery pieces. Elevators and pulleys raised and lowered scenery and props, as well as lifting the animals to the surface for release. The Colosseum was used to host gladiatorial shows, as well as a variety of other events. The shows were always given by private individuals rather than the state, being a demonstration of power and family prestige. One popular type of show was the animal hunt. This utilized a great variety of wild beasts, mainly imported from Africa and the Middle East, and included creatures such as rhinoceros, elephants, tigers, lions, and crocodiles. Battles and hunts were often staged amid elaborate sets with movable trees and buildings. During the early days of the Colosseum, ancient writers recorded that the building was used for simulated sea battles. There is evidence for the existence of major hydraulic mechanisms, making it possible to flood the arena rapidly via a connection to a nearby aqueduct. However, it is unclear how the arena could have been waterproofed, nor would there have been enough space in the arena for the warships to move around. It has been suggested that the Colosseum originally featured a wide floodable channel down its central axis, which would later have been replaced by the hypogeum. Recreations of natural scenes were also held in the arena. Painters, technicians, and architects could construct a simulation of the forest with real trees and bushes planted in the arena's floor. Animals would be introduced to populate the scene for the delight of the crowd. These scenes were also occasionally used for executions, in which the hero of the story, played by a condemned person, was killed in one of the various gruesome but mythologically authentic ways, such as being mauled by beasts or burned to death. The Colosseum underwent several radical changes of use during the medieval period. By the late 6th century, a small church had been built into the structure of the amphitheater, with the area converted into a cemetery. The numerous vaulted spaces in the arcades under the seatings were converted into housing and workshops, and are recorded as still being rented out as late as the 12th century. Severe damage was inflicted on the Colosseum by the great earthquake in 1349, causing the outer south side to collapse. Much of the tumbled stone was reused in building palaces, churches, hospitals, and other buildings elsewhere in Rome. The interior of the amphitheater was extensively stripped of stone, which was reused elsewhere, or, in the case of the marble facade, was burned to make quicklime. The bronze clamps which held the stonework together were pried or hacked out of the walls, leaving numerous pock marks which still scar the building today. In 1749, Pope Benedict XIV endorsed as official church policy the view that the Colosseum was a sacred site where early Christians had been martyred. He forbade the use of the Colosseum as a quarry and consecrated the building to the Passion of Christ and installed Stations of the Cross. Even today, the Colosseum remains the site of some Roman Catholic ceremonies, with Pope Benedict XVI leading the Stations of the Cross on Good Fridays. The Colosseum is today one of Rome's most popular tourist attractions, receiving millions of visitors annually. The effects of pollution and general deterioration over time prompted a major restoration program carried out between 1993 and 2000 at a cost of roughly $19 million. Because of the ruined state of the interior, it is impractical to use the Colosseum to host large events. However, much larger concerts have been held just outside, using the Colosseum as a backdrop. Performers who have played at the Colosseum in the last decade have included Ray Charles, Paul McCartney, Elton John, and Billy Joel. In recent years, the Colosseum has become a symbol of the international campaign against capital punishment, abolished in Italy in 1948. Recently, several anti-death penalty demonstrations have taken place in front of the Colosseum. Whenever a person condemned to the death penalty anywhere in the world is released, Local authorities changed the color of the Colosseum's nighttime illumination from white to gold. Today, the Colosseum is a background to the busy metropolis that is modern Rome, but it also stands as a testament to the accomplishments of ancient Rome in architecture, art, and engineering. It played an incredibly large part in the history of ancient Rome, and it continues to influence our history today.